From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Reporter Rob Petrie here for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, a Greenwood man was arrested after police say he pointed a rifle at a group of kids in Harrington. A Dover man has been arrested in connection with a shooting. And Janice Lorrah, that's the Hockessin mom and attorney who sued the governor over the school mask mandate, is now running for the Republican nomination for State Auditor. These stories and more coming up, but weather first with Hunter Alton.
Hello and good Thursday, Delmarva. Well, we're starting to see some cloud cover beginning to develop out ahead of our strong to severe thunderstorms getting ready to move across the region this afternoon. Taking a live look outside the TV Delmarva studios here in Georgetown. We're starting to see an influx of those puffy cumulus clouds out there, and we're seeing some very mild and muggy conditions as well. It's currently 90 degrees here in Georgetown. Take a look at Viper 14 radar. We're starting to see thunderstorm activity across areas of Annapolis, Washington, D.C., stretching all the way back towards Leesburg. There's currently a severe thunderstorm warning for areas in Anne Arundel County. Now, these will continue to move off towards the east over the next couple of hours, bringing us the chance for some small hail, but the main threat is definitely going to be the strong winds and very heavy rainfall within these storms. Alrighty, let's take a look at those conditions elsewhere on Delmarva this afternoon. We've been seeing some very mild temperatures out there. Currently 90 degrees for Salisbury and Pocomoke City. Much cooler if you want to escape the heat in Ocean City is 75, 88 for Easton, 85 for Centerville, 86 for Dover, and much cooler up north in Wilmington and Newark at 84 degrees. Along with that, we have a very humid air mass in place. Dew points here on Delmarva ranging anywhere between about 65 and even 70 degrees for areas of Pocomoke City and 71 for Ocean City. Winds haven't been too much of a problem out there for the most part, generally sustained from the west between about 5 and 10 miles per hour, but we're also seeing some wind gusts getting a little bit over 10 at times. 16 from the west in Salisbury, 15 for Pocomoke City, 12 here in Georgetown, 11 for Easton and Centerville, and currently gusting to 10 miles per hour in Dover. Now, we still have the chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms throughout much of the afternoon and evening hours, but the good news is after today, we do get a nice, fantastic weekend ahead with much lower humidity and more sunshine. I'll have all the details regarding the threat for severe weather here in just a little bit.
Well, a Greenwood man was arrested after police say he pointed a rifle at a group of kids in Harrington. According to the Harrington Police Department, on Wednesday, officers arrested 20-year-old Justin Williams on numerous charges and aggravated menacing. Around 6:30 p.m., officers were notified of an incident where a male suspect had reportedly drove near where 4 juvenile victims were riding bicycles on West Mispillion Street. Now, as the vehicle approached the children, police say a male, later identified as Williams, pointed a black rifle at them. The juveniles fled the scene and reported the incident to a parent who in turn called 911. While officers were gathering information from 2 of the victims and a parent, they were notified of a witness who had attained a tag number from the suspect's vehicle. Officers were able to identify Williams as the suspect through the information that was provided by that witness. Now, police made contact with Williams at his home in Greenwood, where he was taken into custody without incident. While on the scene, officers secured a black .22 caliber rifle. Williams was transported to the Harrington Police Department on a slew of charges and later committed to the Sussex Correctional Institute in lieu of $50,000 cash bond. Well, a Dover man has been arrested in connection with a shooting. 19-year-old Hassan Perry was developed as a suspect during the investigation, and a warrant was obtained for his arrest on June 1st. According to Dover police, around 4:54 p.m., officers located Perry in the parking lot of the Buggy Bath Car Wash on South DuPont Highway, where they took Perry into custody. Perry was committed to the Sussex Correctional Institute on $120,000 cash bond. Janice Lorrah, the Hockessin mom and attorney who sued the governor over the school mask mandate, is now running for the GOP nomination for State Auditor. We got the chance to sit down with Lorrah, where she told us why she's running.
If you went to sleep in January 2020 and woke up today, you wouldn't recognize our country, our state, our schools, our community. And I think that part of the reason why is because we have elected leaders that don't represent the people, and they are only interested in representing themselves, and it's business as usual, and that's reflective of the type of government that we have. Confidence in government is at an all-time low, and I really wanted to figure out a way to do something about that. And I think in order to regain our confidence in government, it's going to take somebody who is willing to shed a light on our problems, and who also can stand up when things are going off the rails. And I have a history of doing that, so I think I'm a pretty good fit. So I've been a small business owner, and I've been an attorney for 20 years. A lot of my career has been spent helping the lost, the littlest, and the last. I have represented people who have problems with family members stealing from them. I've represented people who have problems with their children in schools. I represented one family whose daughter was the victim of mean girls, online bullying, cyberbullying, in-school bullying, and the school officials wouldn't do anything. So I've represented that family in order to straighten things out. When government goes off the rails, I'm a person to call. I've also represented and advocated for elderly individuals when they can no longer advocate for themselves. Sorry, that's my cat. Sorry.
I love it.
Her name is Liberty. I have gone after family members who steal from their elderly relatives. I've advocated for our most vulnerable citizens, senior citizens who can no longer advocate for themselves, and I've gotten guardians appointed for them. And again, just if you need help, you call me. Check me out at JaniceForThePeople.com. Also follow me on Facebook. Sign up to be a volunteer, to also be part of our blogs. We have a lot of interesting, fun things planned for the summer, and I want everyone to be a part of it.
Now, Lorrah is running against incumbent Democrat State Auditor Kathy McGinnis, who as of this time does not have a primary challenger. Well, with spring heading into summer, it's prime time for ticks. And as a result, DENREC has partnered with the Division of Public Health to educate the public about the parasitic insects, including where they are found, how to identify different types, and what precautions you should take if you've been bit. Some precautions to avoid or reduce tick exposure include wearing long sleeves and pants with the legs of those pants tucked into your socks, wearing light-colored clothing to make ticks just a little more visible, keep your grass short, and remove brush from your yard. And always check for ticks after you've been outside for an extended period of time, removing them as quickly as possible to decrease the chances of disease transmission. For additional tips on ticks, visit de.gov/ticks. Coming up, the Delaware Division of Public Health is announcing the launch of Delaware WIC's new educational website. More details on the way. Don't go away. Well, the Delaware Division of Public Health has announced the launch of Delaware WIC's new educational website. The website includes information on nutrition, breastfeeding, and WIC's programming for families covering all stages of pregnancy, postpartum, infancy, and children up to 5 years of age. It currently includes a link to information and contact numbers related to the baby formula shortage. The site can be accessed at delaware.wicresources.org. Well, it's looking like we're in store for heavy thunderstorms and mild conditions tonight as we get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with Hunter Alton.
Strong to severe thunderstorms are on the move this afternoon and evening, with the potential of some strong winds, small hail, and some very heavy rainfall. These will continue into the evening hours before tapering off just before midnight with mostly cloudy skies. Friday will feature cooler temperatures and lower humidity, and a fantastic weekend is ahead with plenty of sunshine and comfortable temperatures. Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, I'll let you know what to expect from these storms for the rest of this evening here on TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Alrighty, Delmarva, let's get right into the pinpoint forecast for the overnight hours into the day on Friday, because we got severe weather to talk about for the rest of this afternoon and evening. So let's go over the overall threats for that. The wave 4 tornado is expecting little to not Not at all, because we don't have the supportive environment for tornadoes. We lacked a low-level wind shear, and as well as the cloud bases are going to be a little bit higher than tornadoes like to be. So that's at least some good news there. Large hail, not really expecting anything of massive hailstones like we've seen back in Dorchester County a couple weeks ago, only expecting maybe the size of quarters at most, but the biggest threats are definitely going to be high winds and heavy rainfall within these storms. Wind gusts could be as high as 50 to 70 miles per hour within these storms, and as well as the threat for heavy rainfall of rates 1 to 3 inches per hour. Now, these two factors right here are going to be in a combination of something that I'm really watching out for later on this afternoon as far as wet microbursts. Now, from the Storm Prediction Center, we have a region-wide slight risk of severe weather. That's a level 2 out of 5 risk for the threat for wind damage being that primary threat. Now, what I talked about yesterday with the low-level lapse rates, this values only go up to about 10, and we're still nearly maxing out those values. That means that there's a very, very good chance of seeing some of those stronger winds in the mid-levels reach down towards the surface in the form of some strong straight-line winds. And as well as we do have a lot of abundance of moisture in the atmosphere with the PWAT values getting to 1.9 to 2 inches, which is fairly high. That means there's a lot of moisture inside of the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to work with. So you have steep low-level lapse rates, you have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so those combinations are perfect for wet microbursts. And I'll give you a little bit of a brief description of what a microburst is, because I had a follower message me this morning talk about, is a microburst similar to a tornado? Well, they can produce winds strong enough to be like a tornado, but they're formed quite differently. So we have a thunderstorm here, we have the rainfall fairly heavy underneath, but we have colder air in the mid-levels, and what happens is this atmosphere works in equilibrium, so we have very strong surface temperatures and a little bit cooler up north, and then when that happens is that cold air is dense, it starts racing down towards the surface, and when it does, it spreads out in all directions and accelerates in speed. So we start to see wind speeds really start cranking up 80, maybe even 90 miles per hour, very similar to a weak tornado, but they're all in the form of straight line winds in a circular pattern, which usually range about 2 to maybe even 3 miles at most. So they're very, very isolated, but they can produce some very, very strong winds. I'll have full details about microbursts in a little while in today's weather classroom. So let's get right into it. For the overnight hours, we got scattered thunderstorms earlier on with mostly cloudy skies closer towards Friday morning. Temperatures overnight lows 67 to 70 degrees with some light winds from the west at about 5 miles per hour. Take a look at futurecast rest of the afternoon and evening hours into the day on Friday. This is 6 o'clock this afternoon. We're still seeing those thunderstorms beginning to move across areas of Delmarva as temperatures getting into the upper 80s to lower 90s. And then by 9 o'clock, we got widespread areas of thunderstorms across areas of Delmarva from Dover, Georgetown, Salisbury, Easton, stretching all the way back towards La Plata. But the good news is once we get into the heart of the overnight hours, just after midnight, we're still going to be looking at some isolated rain chances here and there as that cold front begins to move through, but temperatures nice and comfortable for the most part into the lower 70s. And then waking up tomorrow morning, we're going to be done with the precipitation, and we're going to be looking at a fairly nice day with a mixture of some clouds and sunshine, waking up with temperatures in the lower 70s. And then by the afternoon hours, we're warming up upper 70s to about 80 degrees. Still have a mixture of clouds and sunshine for the most part, but it will be decreasing once we get later into the day. And then by the evening hours, we still got some partly cloudy skies. Temperatures nice and comfortable into the mid 70s. Take a look at the Friday forecast overall. We got mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies, but definitely noticeably cooler than it has been over the last couple of days, dropping about 10 to 15 degrees. Afternoon highs of 77 to 82 degrees. The winds will be kicking up too from the northwest between 10 to 15 miles per hour. But the best news of all is that humidity will be going away. Now we're going to switch gears and take a look at the beach forecast for your Friday, just in time for the weekend, beginning with the Atlantic. Partly sunny skies, 74 degrees, winds from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of 1 to 3 feet, with that water temperature still hanging around 70 degrees. And with the UV index right around 7. Take a look at the Delaware Bay. Partly sunny skies, 75 degrees, winds from the northwest at about 10 miles per hour with seas of around 1 foot. And then the Chesapeake Bay. Partly sunny skies, a little bit warmer at 78, winds from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas right around 1 foot on the Chesapeake. Now going into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we're still going to be looking at some partly cloudy skies, but a nice cooler and comfortable night ahead as well. 60 to 65 degrees, with some light winds from the northwest at about 5 miles per hour. Now, as we take a look at that extended outlook, we got a beautiful weekend in store, lower humidity and even cooler temperatures as well, only getting into the mid and upper 70s with plenty of sunshine. So a fantastic weekend ahead, and still continuing with the cooler temperatures going into Monday with a little bit of an increase in cloud cover and partly sunny and 77. Introducing some isolated rain chances by Tuesday with temperatures slowly creeping back up to about 80 degrees. And then we're back into the lower 80s by the mid to late portions of next week with more scattered rain chances by Thursday.
Coming up, President Biden weighs in on the baby formula shortage. More details straight ahead. Keep it here. Well, as parents continue to find it difficult to find baby formula in our area and across the country for that matter, President Joe Biden met with CEOs of those companies to address the issues that led to this nationwide shortage. Our Jonathan Mistrat has the details.
President Biden admits that he did not realize the impact of shutting down an Abbott's plant would cause a baby formula shortage in the area and the United States, which accounted for about 40% of the supply. The comments were made during a virtual press conference yesterday with CEOs from several baby formula companies, minus a representative from Abbott's, which is at the center of the issue. President Biden says steps made to import formula through the Defense Production Act is getting formula to the hands of parents who need it for their children.
The last thing we should ever do is allow unsafe formula to be sold to parents. Instead, we should increase the production of safe formula to make every American family so they can get what they need for their child. That's the approach we've taken. The Food and Drug Administration acted quickly to bring Abbott back into compliance with safety standards, but it takes time.
Mr. Biden announced yesterday that an agreement was made with Bubs Australia to bring in 4.6 million bottles of infant formulas, and the Food and Drug Administration is reviewing imports of additional formula, along with United Airlines offering to cargo these formulas in. Target is also partnering with the government to distribute formula to families in stores and online. Jonathan Mistrat for TV Delmarva News.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson we will be talking about microburst. A microburst is a localized column of sinking air or downdraft within a thunderstorm and is usually less than or about equal to 2.5 miles in diameter. Microbursts can cause extensive damage at the surface and in some instances can also be life-threatening. There are two primary types of microbursts, one being wet microbursts and two dry microbursts. We're going to be talking about the most common type, which is known as wet microbursts, which are accompanied by significant precipitation and are very common during the summer months here in the United States. It all starts with the development of a thunderstorm and the water droplets and hailstones being suspended within the updraft. Now, sometimes an updraft is so strong, it keeps the large amounts of these droplets and hailstones into the upper portions of the thunderstorm. There are many factors that can lead to evaporational cooling and therefore weakening of the updraft. Once this occurs, it is no longer capable of holding the large core of rain or hail up in a thunderstorm. As a result, the core then plummets to the ground, and as it hits the ground, it spreads out in all directions. The location in which the microburst first hits the ground experiences the highest winds and the greatest damage overall. Now, wind speeds in microbursts can reach up to 100 miles per hour or even stronger, which is equivalent to an EF1 tornado. Winds this high can cause major damage to homes and other structures and level hundreds of trees in its path. It is very important that you take severe thunderstorm warnings just as serious as tornado warnings, especially for these kinds of events.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to sign our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Rob Petrie reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News.